Alright, so the lighting is gonna look kind of trifling in this video. It is late, it's like 8:45. I just finished doing some chemistry homework and I wasn't planning on filming this video right now, but I figured I've been putting it off, and while I'm in the mindset of school and working from home and doing online classes and all that stuff, I may as well go ahead and share these tips that I have for you. Hey everyone, my name is Diamond, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how I maintained a 3.8 GPA while taking online classes in my first semester of college. Now, I did say 3.8 GPA. I'll be honest with you, it's more like a 3.77, 3.78 rounded up to a 3.8, but at least I didn't lie to y'all and say it was a 4.0, okay? During this time, a lot of people are struggling with transitioning from doing in-person classes to online classes, and as someone who actually started college technically taking online classes, I figured I may as well just come out of the background and give you guys some of my tips that I use to help me out. I started 3 online classes for my first semester of actual college the last week of my senior year in high school. I took psychology, I think it was either federal government or Texas government. I've taken both, I don't remember which one I started with, and a philosophy class. Pretty easy classes to take online. They're basically read and write and take tests oriented. You don't really have to do much hands-on stuff, so those are easier. But right now I'm taking a chemistry class online, so I have a little bit of a variety of my experience in the type of classes that I've taken online and the types of ways that I've had to learn how to study to accommodate for the information that I was having to learn. I'm a theater major, so by this time in my college life, I was only taking 2 theater classes on campus, and then I was taking 3 more classes online. Honestly, I would have taken the theater classes online if I could. I'm doing that. I have to do it now anyway, you know, we're making it work. So all of this is doable. We just have to adjust. I have this video sort of split into 2 parts. The beginning, I want to talk about transitioning from in-class to online. And then the second part, I'll talk about how I personally organize my schedule, organize my space, all that stuff to help me personally get everything done, keep my grades up, focus, all that stuff. So the first part about transitioning, you need to create a space for yourself that you're actually comfortable being in and that you'll actually want to sit down in for an extended period of time. You're in the comfort of your own room for the most part, so take advantage of that. Clean up your workspace, decorate a little bit. You know, if you have a desk, do up your desk, get all of the junk, get the empty ice cream bowls, get the empty bags of chips, get that off of your desk. You should only have the school supplies you need for the assignments that you're going to be doing. Everything else is going to be a distraction, or it's going to make your space look more cluttered than it is, and you're not going to want to sit in it for an extended period of time. My second tip is that you want to pick a reasonable time for yourself to do your work. For me, I found that I am better at learning information between 2 and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. That's whenever I do all my reading or watching videos, lectures, whatever I have to do to take information in, and then getting homework done where I need to use the information that I've just learned. I found that I work better between 6 and 8:30 p.m. and this schedule was working for me because before all of this happened and we were off campus, I would work from about 6 to 12, 6 to 1, go to class after that from about 1:30 to 4, after that go to the gym, and then be home around 5:30 and shower, eat dinner, and then by 6 I was starting homework to be in getting ready for bed between 8:30 and 9, and then going to work the next. It was a cycle, and so that's another tip I have. If you cannot manage to come up with a new way, a new schedule that works for you, try to maintain the schedule that was already designed for you by the classes that you were taking on campus. If you had history from 10 to 12, and then you had math from 1 to 2, and then, you know what I mean, still study those subjects at those same times if you have the time, you know, assuming you don't have something else to do now during those time slots. It's definitely okay to maintain the schedule that you were already on to the best of your abilities, even though you're in a different environment now, because for the most part your brain has gotten used to studying certain subjects at certain times of the day. That's pretty much all I got about the transition. You just have to be patient with it as well. Give yourself time to make mistakes. I know that was a little bit short, but the second part is going to be how I organize and the tips that I actually practiced that helped me throughout my first real semester in college. First, the syllabus that you get, or some sort of weekly schedule that you may get, especially now because we're all online, you might be getting some sort of weekly outline. Use it. It works. You want to get yourself a planner and plan out the times and the days that you're going to get assignments done. But when doing this, you don't just want to plan days to get whole assignments done, you should look at how many parts are within each assignment and space those out. Here's an example. Last semester, I took a public speaking class online. Because it was online, we were made to record our speeches and upload them to YouTube or upload them somewhere to where we can send a link in for our professor and other classmates to see. For every speech, we had to do an outline, research, and then record and upload. So rather than sitting down on Wednesday night and doing all of this, I would read. We usually had 2 chapters a week as well. So I would read a chapter on Monday, read a chapter on Tuesday, make my speech outline on Wednesday, also look up a couple of sources that I may have, finalize the speech outline Thursday morning, and then Thursday afternoon, once all of it was done, I would record my speech so that I could make sure everything was put together as it needed to be and turn in my speech by Friday. You need to learn how to break things down so that you're not overwhelming yourself, because had I not spaced out how I did that, I would have been sitting in my room on a Thursday night, for 4 hours working on one assignment. The second thing I've learned that helps me probably more than anything else on this list is to set a timer for focusing. I would put a timer on my phone for 30 minutes and I would read, take notes, write an essay, research, do whatever I was working on for 30 minutes. When that timer went off, I'd give myself a 5-minute break. I always get up from the spot, go downstairs, go walk around for a little bit, and then come back from that and do another 30-minute session and then have a 5-minute break. A lot of people like to put their stuff on Do Not Disturb. Putting my phone on Do Not Disturb just makes me want to keep checking it over and over and over again because it won't vibrate if I do get something. So I'm going to check it more to make sure there's nothing there. There never is, but for some reason I always feel the need to overcheck my phone. I typically finish my assignments that I had planned for that day in about 2 hours, which is about 3 or 4 rotations of this 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Of course, you can alter the amount of time that you do homework and then the amount of time that you have a break that fits you. Like for me, if I was to do a break longer than 5 minutes, I wouldn't come back. So that's why I have a pretty short break, but you just have to find what works for you. 3 is to take notes you are actually going to look at. I cannot harp on this enough. If you know you're not going to read your notes, don't waste time taking them. You may as well just spend the time focusing on what you're reading, focusing on whatever video you're watching, focusing on whatever lecture. You would never see me take notes in a history class. You would never see me take notes in a history class because I'm not going to look at them. Also, I take too long to write. So back when I was in high school, if I had a teacher and they were lecturing, like just sit and listen because it's history, it's a story, I found that for that, it was better for me to just pay attention to what was going on at the board or what was going on in the front of the class than to be looking at a piece of paper. And that still applies at home. Try not to write down stuff you already know. It just wastes time and it takes up space on your page. Try different note-taking methods, use different symbols. For me, I'll do like a dash for a vocabulary word, an asterisk, I think, a little star thing. I'll do one of those for if it's a continuation of what I just wrote above it, or maybe like an arrow or something to insinuate that all of these points that I'm making are connected to one another. Use different colors for stuff, highlight stuff, draw pictures. Some people do mind maps, not me because it's too cluttered for me to look at. You could try digital notes. I think right now it might be helpful for some people, especially the people who are struggling the most with this transition from being around classmates to being sort of by themselves doing the work. You can try Google Docs. Maybe if it's a chapter, you can get a group of 5 or 6 people. You can all focus on one section of the chapter and put in notes. I recently bought an iPad so I could start taking digital notes. And I thought I was going to take my iPad to school and I was going to record the lectures, do an audio recording and all that. And literally the next day, they said, don't come back to school. So you could also practice rewriting your notes. What I mean by that is for classes like math, I would try to follow along with the examples that we were doing. And of course, you're writing fast. Your notes are probably a little bit sloppy and they're probably a little bit harder to read. So a good way to practice the problems or review the information is to take sloppy notes in class, during online lectures, whatever, take sloppy notes just to get it down. Whenever you go home or later on when you want to review, you get better paper, get the highlighters out, girl, get the markers, the colored pencils, the good pens, with the fine tip, and you rewrite your notes and you make them neater and you draw pictures. In doing this, you're creating notes that you're gonna want to turn back to, and you're also reviewing the information. As for a continuation with note taking, take interactive notes. I mean, while you're reading the chapter, If there's a word you don't know, write down the word, write down the definition, especially if they give you the solution in the book. Take that time to actually work through problems while you're reading the information, because that's going to help lock it in your head. Stop skipping those example problems. Y'all aren't understanding the stuff because you're skipping the example problem in the book. Y'all are ignoring the practice problems at the end of the section. That's pretty much all I have. I want to say again to allow yourself to make mistakes during this time. It is a weird transition for a lot of people. Don't beat yourself up if you are struggling with focusing. Since you are at home, there are more of your personal distractions around. Just give it some time and everything will be cool. I hope that I was able to help someone. I feel like I planned this video out. I wrote all of these notes and I was like, yeah, that's good. And I turned on this camera and I stammered and stuttered through it and mixed a bunch of, look. It's late. I might make videos regularly. We'll see. This was impulsive. It was impulsive. So we'll see about next time. Bye.